brother accidentally ran over my grandmother's car dolly. We're gonna fix it. Welcome to Old Hat Nation. Welcome to the channel, everybody. My name's Brendan Hankins. Most folks call me Hank for short. But yeah, welcome to Old Hat Nation. This is our inaugural video. And this video is brought to you by Barry Lambert of Station Road Rat Rods. This thing is entirely his fault. And if you like what you see here, or you just want to see awesome builds in general, I recommend you go over to his YouTube channel, Station Road Rat Rods. It's really good stuff. I mean, he put a turboed LS in a Dodge Caravan. I mean, it's amazing. So, anyway, let's get to what we got going on here. So, this here, it's a car dolly that my great uncle actually had bought. He'd moved up. He's a snowbird. You know, he spends the summers up in Fraser, BC, and then winters down in Yuma, Arizona. And he used to use this car dolly to haul his car around whenever they'd drive south in their RV camper, I guess. Well, one day he parked this on my grandmother's ranch in Oregon, and there it stayed for about 2 decades until I borrowed it to go bring my brother's car over here to Montana, where we're located. So at the time, I did a rewiring job on it that at the time I thought was pretty good, and at the time, or now that I'm looking at it, you know, years later, wiser and more experienced, I'm like, oh God, what did I do? Anywho, I borrowed the dolly again I got to haul a car to a buddy of mine that I met through the Gambler 500 organization. You know, that'll be an upcoming video. And my brother accidentally ran over the fender. Ran over the trailer. He did a crunchy on the fender. You can see that there. I mean, this thing's just hatched. You know. And then the other fender. Yeah, the other fender is just, I mean, you look at it, it's plastic. It barely fits over the tire. I'm pretty sure it rubs. And the only reason it hasn't popped the tire is because, well, plastic. But it's old, it's rusty, you can see some of the wiring's torn up. So we're going to do the right thing, and we're going to give it a little bit of TLC because it's grandma's, and you know, she doesn't use it all that much, but I'm sure she'd appreciate the gesture. Always take care of grandma. So I'll give you a little bit of grand tour over this thing. You know, so originally, this trailer came with 4-pin wire. I'm the one that put the Smurf tube on it because when the first time I rewired it, all the wires were chewed up. But if you look, I think it was this side. I can't. Oh, yeah. Okay, here you go. You can kind of see, if you look right there, you can kind of see the Smurf tube has been running. There was a little channel here where you could run the wires through, but there's a gap there, and it wore through the Smurf tube, wore through the insulation. Now the wires got a short in it. It actually blew the fuse for the brake lights and the vehicle speed sensor and the shift control of my F-150. I don't know if you can see it out there. It actually blew the fuse in that, and it left me unable to shift my truck until I was able to diagnose what happened. It was really, really irregular. this is something that I put, and at the time I thought I was real slick, and now looking at it, I'm like, you dumbass, what were you doing? So, weatherproof electrical box, which is all well and good, you know, that was the right thing to do. But these guys here, they're not weatherproof. So the inside of the box is just filling with all kinds of road debris and dust, and it's just a mess. So we're going to replace this, and we're going to redo this right. Here I got a bunch of various splices where you know, you got your splits going off to each fender, which gets routed into the channeling under the fender. You can kind of see it down there. Right, there's the channel and go. We're going to redo that. There's a small section that comes up into here. We're going to rewire that. And I thought this is pretty trick. I bought a set of magnetic trailer lights, and I hardwired them into the box, so that way if you're hauling a car, because you really can't see the lights on the fender beyond, the where the car is. So to fix that, you know, you just slap these bad boys on the back of the car and away you go. And if the wiring wasn't all shorted and whatnot, you know, it actually would work really well. But right now, you can kind of see the same thing going on this side. Right where that joint is, the wiring's wearing through, and it just needs to be replaced. So we're going to do it right. We're probably going to abandon this channel altogether because this, I mean, it's not doing what it's supposed to do. You know, the old wiring on the trailer was damaged the exact same way. So yeah, we're gonna do the right thing. We're gonna go get her handled. This one's got the cool little pin that you can pull out. If that pin's in place, keeps these wheels solid, keeps them from pivoting. But you yank that pin. There's a cotter pin in the bottom that keeps it in place. But you yank that and you pull that pin out, and this little steering arm actually allows the wheel to pivot. So it gives you a little bit of a shorter turning radius when you're making long corners, which when you drive big stinky diesel like I do, it's useful. So yeah, it's a good trailer. It just needs a little bit of tender love and care, and that's what we're going to give it. So first order of business, I guess, is to actually turn on these lights so I can actually get a good look at what we got going. I actually washed this trailer before I parked it in my garage, which, yeah, I know, needs to be cleaned. Work in progress. But I actually pressure washed this trailer before I parked it in here. But between here and the car wash, it seems to have gotten a little bit of road debris on it. It's springtime in Montana. You're going to have a lot of sand and silt on the roads left over after all the snow is melted. And they're still sanding roads because it snowed as recently as last night. So, you know, it's got a little bit of dust that we got to get off of her. Not a big deal. If we were, if we were bougie, you know, we'd have an air compressor and, you know, we'd just dust that stuff off and get right to it. But, you know, peasants like me, you don't have an air compressor, so you make do with what you can. So I got a bucket of soapy water, and I got a broom, and I got a grinder with a wire wheel on it, and we're just gonna knock off all the dust, and then after that we'll knock off some of the paint, and we'll go from there. So, pro tip, and this is something that, you know, Barry's encouraged me on, and you hear guys like Dave Freiberger and Mike Finnegan and Weston Champlin, Derek Berry, Vice Grip Garage, hallowed be thy name. you know, you hear those guys say all the time, don't worry about getting it perfect, just get it running, and you don't have to have a fancy garage or tools or what have you to do this kind of stuff. You can do most basic automotive stuff with a decent set of basic tools, a ratchet set, help from a good buddy. So, let me be a good example. I'm not rich. I'm not fancy. We're making it work anyway. So, yeah, don't be afraid to get out there and do, have the kind of fun that we're having. This actually works better than I thought. It probably works better than the compressed air. Plus, you don't need hearing protection, which is kind of nice. Rusty. First law of engineering: if you can't fix it, you ain't using a big enough hammer. Come on. Oops. Technical difficulties. There we go. Woo! On newer dollies, those are spring loaded. But on this one, it's literally the pressure from this keeper. It's literally the pressure that this is putting on this that's keeping it in place. Oh. I think that's about as good as we're going to get working just a bunch. Okay, let's go grab some soapy water. These are kind of tricky. So for various different car sizes, say you need to reposition your straps to be centered over the tire. Just pick this thing up. Well, it's easier if there's not all this dust in it. You can pick it up and you can slide it around. But over time, this channel fills up with dirt and it's a pain in the neck. So gotta clean out periodically. Unfortunately, car dollies do a lot of sitting around. And usually problems, if they have them, don't get addressed until the moment you need a dolly and oh crap, the dolly's broken. So, reminder, give your trailers a little tender loving care and they'll back you 100% of the time. But if you just let them sit and then you try to take them on the road years and years and years later, you're gonna have problems. Just saying. Honestly, I have no idea what this is. There's a license plate bracket. But, because I don't. Most states that I've lived in, and I've lived in several, most states you don't have to register a car dolly. So I don't know what the purpose of this is. If you know what the purpose of this is, if it is a license plate holder, if it's something else, or if I'm just an idiot, let me know in the comments. You see the years coming off this thing. It's actually not in bad shape. It's actually pretty good looking for what we got. You see the other trailer I'm doing. I'm helping my dad rebuild a trailer. having to replace axles. Yeah, I'll have to rewire this one too, but this one isn't near as bad as that other trailer. Hee-haw. Okay. Reckon that's good enough. Woo! Alright, let's go. That didn't do shit. Woo! Now the trailer stable. There we go. Third time got it. Nope. Welded in, we're good. I would have cried if that was in here instead of a welded or threaded fitting that keeps it in here. That would have been terrible. Well, actually not as bad as I thought. I don't know if y'all can see that, but there's actually not too much gunk in there. It's not too bad. Now, in the electrical world, call these a Wago, the trade name for the connector. So, when I first started doing electrical work, part of what I do for a living, but when I first started doing electrical work, my supervisors swore by these. They said they were amazing. Well, years and years after the fact, it's not so much the case, because these little, so what these are is a push-in connector, right? And you push them in, and there's little spring-loaded teeth that hold them in, and they're actually really solid until they're not. And it's when they're not solid anymore that they become a problem. These things can start fires and whatnot. For 12 volt, they're probably fine, but for household stuff, stick with a wire nut. I know that like a lot of overseas electrical codes, British standard, whatnot, you have to use these. These are actually mandated. Wire nuts are illegal, but me, I prefer a good wire nut. Friction over spring tension any day. So we're going to go ahead and break these apart and get this box out, get the wire stripped out. Okay, so I had to pry this one off because she is rusty. The inside of the box actually isn't that bad. It's actually, it's got some minor grime, but it's not the worst electrical box I've ever seen. However, that screw is rusted to sin. And honestly, we need to put in a bigger electrical box anyway, so it's okay that I broke out the back. I'm not really worried about it. So, we're going to finish stripping off the wire. We'll probably reuse these magnetic lights here. These are pretty decent, you know. So, we'll go ahead and strip off the rest of the wiring, and away we go. Shitty thing about plastic fenders, another reason I'm swapping out, is you have to run more wire to accommodate them, because most automotive applications, you run your ground or your negative along you just ground it in the frame, and you run it out to whatever appliance you're running to, and you can just ground, like say you got a light, you'd ground the light to the frame. But you can't do that on a plastic fender because plastic doesn't conduct electricity. So you got to run a separate ground, and it's just more wire and pain in the neck, really. So yeah, I'm kind of glad we're getting rid of the plastic fenders. So we'll go ahead and stripping this out. That's one thing I'm going to miss right here, though, is that neat little channel where you could tuck your wires in, get it all nice and neat. We're not going to have that at the new fenders, but we'll make do. There we go. There you go. Yeah, that is filthy. Eek. Go ahead and clean it up real quick. Oh, looks a lot better than it did. Should maybe get a little bit more off there. Okay, cool. So, all right, we'll keep moving. Yep, there it is. That's where it shorted out at. Oh well, we'll keep working. Hello again, everyone. I apologize. I kind of got on a roll and then I realized the camera died. So while it's recharging, I'm back to my cell phone. So I sanded down the trailer frame, you know, just using a flat disc grinder. Just roughed up the paint a little bit, enough to get some primer on it. And while that's drying, I'm going to direct your attention over to these shiny new metal trailer fenders. Thank you, local farm supply store. Got these all painted. They got 2 layers of primer, 2 layers of paint, and then 2 layers of clear coat. So now next step is getting lights mounted and getting them ready to put on the trailer. So we're gonna go ahead and do that. All right, we're moved upstairs, and we're gonna go ahead and get our lights mounted on our fender before we head back out to the garage. Normally I'll do this in the garage, but spray paint fumes are kind of heavy, and I'm trying to keep the heat in so the paint can dry. So while I wait for that to happen, we have to hang out in the house, which is very much under construction. We just got our kitchen cabinets up. So yeah, kitchen cabinets, yeah.
I had to build those soffits and whatnot. I was pretty happy with it. So anyway, we're going to be working here in our very cluttered living room, and special guest, Ely Pup. What's up, dog? Ely's a good boy. So I'm actually kind of surprised here. So these side marker lights only come with one bolt. That's funky. They used to provide them with two, but I guess no longer. So we're just going to go ahead and mark our hole. Huh. Haha. No, draw out. Okay. Light is on. Okay. Cool. Oh, there we are. Got her all mounted. I just gotta do a little bit more tightening on the nut that's coming through the fender. I apologize in advance, guys, if it seems like we're doing a lot of jump cuts, but you know, with camera dad, it's kind of hard to hold a phone and work at the same time, so we'll try to keep that in mind for next video. I apologize. So anyway, there's our side marker light for this fender. Let's go ahead and get the other marker light on. Whoops. That's better. Almost put on the wrong light. Whoops. Okay, loud noise, dog. It's okay. Sorry. Sorry, Pepper Dog. Sorry, dog. Okay? Okay? I don't think he's very happy with me. Okay, here we go. She's pretty much all good to go. We got our side marker light up front. We got our rear marker light right here. Made sure everything inside was already connected, which it is. Had the screws put down tight. I put on the license plate holder, even though you don't have to register a Dolly. This day and age, I really think you should. You know, you never know who's going to rip off your trailer, and if that happens, well, you know, how are you going to get it back, you know? So, yeah, it's extra money. It's a pain in the ass. You got to deal with DMV more, but I don't know. If it were me, I would register a trailer or register a car Dolly. You know, even though the law doesn't require you to, it still is a good protection measure. So, just my 2 cents on the matter. If you disagree, feel free to put it down in the comments below. But anywho, we're gonna go ahead and dress up the other fender, and I'll show you guys a neat little trick about wiring. So I'm actually quite proud of this. Shout out to my twin brother Aaron, who helped me suss out the idea. I mentioned what we were planning on doing. We were on the phone for like a good 4 hours, 4 or 5 hours, and it was late. And he called me at like midnight my time, and we were up until like 4 in the morning discussing how to make this work, and we figured it out. So I had an idea on wouldn't it be cool if you were making a left turn with a car Dolly, or a right turn with a car Dolly, or just with any trailer in general, if you can make the trailer lights on that side of the vehicle blink. So we did just that. So here's what we got. What you're going to need for it: 7-pin connector, constant 12-volt hot, and 3 5-pin relays for each side of the trailer. And you can run all of the lights on that side of the trailer off those same 3, but each side of the trailer has to have their own independent 3 5-pin relay setup, and that's these guys right here. So you can kind of see, if you're unfamiliar, so terminal 86 and 85 are that's your coil control wire, right? 30 is your constant, is your common, where it comes in, and then 87A is, if I'm getting this right, 87A is your normally closed, and 87 is your normally open. So when the coil's energized, when the coil's not energized, power goes from 30 to 87A, and that's the way it normally goes. But coil closes, goes across 30 to 87. That contact closes, power goes through to the circuit you want to turn on. So, anywho, how this works. So we'll start down low. 3 relays. The first one, you're going to use your tail lights as a control, or your tail light wire as a control voltage for this first relay. Black power come into terminal 30, your common, and then normally closed, it'll send power to the common on relay number 2. The normally open, when that relay closes, goes to the normally closed contact on your third relay. We'll get to that in just a second. So then, so relay 1 closes, when you turn your taillights on. And that sends voltage down to relay number 2, your blinker relay. So this one is actually controlled by your yellow or green wire, which is going to be either your right stop turn or your left stop turn, depending on color. Yellow is usually left, green is usually right. So, anywho, 12 volt constant hot comes into common, and then your stop turn becomes control control voltage. Normally closed, it's just an open terminal. It doesn't go to anything, leaving the circuit open. But normally, or the normally open contact, the circuit closes and it activates, it sends power through to the normally open contact on relay number 3. And basically what that does is, with relay 1, when it's off, it basically it isolates this relay, right? But this relay is necessary for when your taillights are off. If you still want that marker light to blink, you need the second relay. And you also need a third relay, which is where the normally open of relay number 1 and a normally open of relay number 2 come together. So in this one, you're actually going to flip backwards. This one is also going to be controlled off of your stop turn. And so the difference here is the common going out is going to go to your marker light. It's and then your normally closed is going to be your normally open for there's going to be your normally coming from your normally open on tail relay 1. So you turn on your tail lights, power comes through, and your marker light is just on constantly. What makes it blink is either this relay here, when this relay is off, or this relay when your tail lights are on. So again, controlled off of stop turn. When your stop or turn is activated, energizes the coil, closes the normally open contact, and because this blinks on and off, it'll make the relay blink. Now, the reason why they have this relay set up the way it is because if you just had 2 relays going into one, yeah, you're switching between sources of power, but the light's not going to blink. So you basically got to trick the system into turning off, if that makes sense at all. So, here's the description of what happens when each relay's off. So you can kind of see what happens here. Relay 2. So if relay 1 is on, relay 2 will send power to relay 3. If relay 1 is off or relay 2 is unenergized, no power is going to come through. And in this one here, if relay number 1 is off, no power to lamp. If it is on, there will be 12 volts to the lamp constant. And then when the relay is activated, it basically tricks the light into blinking. And we'll be able to show that in action once I get everything put in and wired up. So if you want to do this on your own trailer, this is how you do it. Stupid house phone is ringing. It is probably a scammer.
Okay, not a problem. I can speak with either one of you. It's Travis calling for the Firefighters and EMS Fund.
I donate enough. Quit cold calling me. Now you can just buy these little relays and put like little spade terminals on the ends, and it'll work just fine. The downside to that is if you do that, and then if this relay ever goes out and you have to replace it, if you don't remember which wire's which, you can get mixed up in a hurry. So for a little bit extra, I think I was only paying like $10 per light versus $6 for just a relay. You can also get this nifty little base that, you know, you just wire it up, and then if a relay ever goes bad, all you got to do is just pop the relay out and then stick another one in. So this is the way I did it. If you want to do something else, that's on you, but this is what I recommend, just to make life easier. So anywho, also pro tip, if you're going to use the bases, mark which one is which. So paint marker would probably be better. Me, I'm a Philistine, and I just scratched it with a pocket knife. But you know, hey, you know, any port in a storm, right? All right, let's get this on the trailer. Oh yeah. Healy approves. Healy's a good boy. He's a very good boy. He's also sleeping. So this guy here is what makes using that conduit possible and feasible. So you just take those, and on each fender I have a splitter. You got one end going to your tail lights and one end going towards your marker lights. And you just pass your cable through there, and pretty watertight, so should be good to go. All right, well, it's the following day, and look at all the progress that happened that I didn't get on camera since my camera died at the time. But yeah, just we're waiting for a couple more pieces of paint to dry. Whoops, I got a little bit of wire spacer in there. That's not good. That yeah, so we got our new 7-pin. This was formerly a 4-pin trailer. We've since upgraded to 7-pin, and you'll see why in a minute. But yeah, not really worried about the pin, but you know, that paint's probably going to rub anyway. But that's painted, the deck's painted, and we got the fenders out here. I got to drill and mount those, and yeah, it's coming along. So we should be rolling here in very short order. I'm going to go ahead and set y'all down here for a second. Try to set you in a manner where you can stand upright and kind of see me. Okay, groovy. So this is what we're going to run our trailer wiring in. And the reason we're going to run it in here is it's steel jacketed. It's also watertight, so a lot more so than the old wire channels were on this trailer. It's shielded, it's waterproof, and absent physically hitting, or this physically getting hit by something, and the only way that's going to happen is if this trailer gets in an accident. The only way this is that's about the only thing that's going to damage this. So that's why we're using it. So, but what you do with these, if you look really close, it's kind of dark. Let me kind of get up in the light a little bit more. Okay, so you see how there's threads on there, right? And these little angle connectors, all you gotta do is, oh, well, but I get this too small. Okay. That that was a smooth one. So pro tip, if you're going to do this, make sure you get the right size fittings. This is a 3/4 fitting, and this is a 1/2 inch piece of flex. This ain't gonna work. Alright, so this is pretty trick. Did you know that North 40 Outfitters sells these ammo cans. They're surplus from the military. They sell these ammo cans for about 25 bucks. They're friggin' sweet. You know what they also do? They make for really, really good storage boxes. So, for our tie-down straps, when they're not in use, that's where they're going to go. Same with our magnetic lights, which is hidden under the handy-dandy hat there. So this here, by the way, previously the lights were hardwired into the trailer, and you know, you couldn't remove them, and they got all weather beaten, just sitting out in the elements. So what I did was I put this guy on here. We have a little plug keeper, and then we're going to rewire the plug on our magnetic lights. We'll hook them up here, and when they're not in use, they can go in there, and they'll be safe. And you can, well, we'll lock this thing, and we'll be good. So, anywho, so cool gee whiz stuff. Got some paint drying. I got one of the whips for the electrical drying right now, and as soon as it's dry enough to handle, we'll go ahead and get her on the trailer and get this baby wired up. By the way, fenders hung mint. There is our fish. There we are. And the best part is, the zip ties are reusable. Just undo the little tape deal, undo tape, cut the end, and you can use the zip tie again. Badass. Pro tip, if you ever gotta splice a bunch of wires in a single line, you know, you want to keep them somewhat neat, kind of spread out where you splice them, you know, so you kind of gap them apart like this. That way they lay together nice and neat, and they're pretty easy to get in a loom or tape up or whatever you want to do with them. So, pro tip. I hate when that happens. Well, not much to do about it but to put on another coat. But hey, got spare tire mounted. It's fancy. And we got everything wired. You know, our relays and everything in there. We got a nice little fuse, no, not fuse block, but terminal block down there in the bottom where we made all our connections, make it all nice and neat. And damn, I'd say she came out pretty good. So I'm going to go ahead and figure out how I'm going to get this thing out of my garage. And yeah, that's going to be fun. That's going to do it for this episode of Old Hat Nation, everybody. Well, thanks for watching. If you liked what you saw, please like and subscribe and spread the word. In the meantime, happy motoring. We'll see you again next episode. Y'all have a good one.